Good afternoon, Pokemon trainers, and welcome back to our Malmo Regional Championships. We're back with round 4. Players are starting to build their stories, build their records towards the end of today. But we're going to go straight into the game. And Shay, why don't you give us a little introduction into these two decks?
Right then, so now we've got Gudra on one side. If you have got seen on round 1, actually, which is a fantastic deck. Looking at the list here, we see some cool cards versus Jesper, 2016 Senior World Champion, and he is playing the Lost Box archetype, which needs no introduction. So going into this matchup, Ben, who do you think would be favoured?
Well, there's a reason why people are playing Gudra. It's good into Lost Box. It limits not only that 80 damage, but also it makes it big and tanky. And the problem with Lost Box is sometimes you play these little single prize attackers that sometimes can't get around that easily. But, you know, if anybody can get around it, it's Jesper. Yeah,
and worth noting, Jesper is playing a sort of hybrid Turbo/Cryoga list, which is really cool. And let's look at some of these achievements here. You know, 4th at OCIC, 7th Bochum, 9th Charlotte, top 62 there at Sao Paulo, and top 32 at EUIC. And like I said, a Seniors World Champion there as well. And then over Orvin's achievements there, top 8 Birmingham, top 16 Malmo, top 32 Bochum, top 32 Sheffield, and a top 32 there Harriet. So no stranger himself to the top stage.
Yeah, 2 players, no stranger to the big stage. But, you know, like going back to the matchup itself, Jesper, on paper, doesn't have a great matchup in front of him, but, you know, I had a chance to speak to him a couple of days ago. He's super confident going into these regionals. So, you know, he'll definitely have a game plan towards Gudra.
100%. And like I said, let's see who's going first. Looks like is Orvind going first there as well. Leading with the Articuno, probably not a card you'd use too often, I imagine, against Lost Box. Normally there for the VMAX matchups or Lugia as well. Open the turn over the VIP Battle Pass. So look at some prize cards there. We see 1 Gudra V-Star prize, 2 couple energies, Roxanne. Roxanne's actually quite a big card against Lost Box, being able to reset their hand, make it down nice and low. And then looking at Jesper's prize, we do see 1 Cramorant, which is his only copy of Cramorant, so keeping the tabs on that. 1 VRB Battle Pass, 1 Sableye. He does play 2 Sableyes though. So yeah, not the worst prizes in the world.
Yeah, not bad prizes on either side. Speaking of the Articuno, you know, this is a blast from the past. We saw this Articuno before as a counter towards Lugia. You know, Lugia doesn't play most switch outs, so, you know, people were smart enough to put in the Articuno in the Inteleon engine, and now we see it come right back into the Gudra.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Like you said, it sort of sprung everyone surprised countering Lugias because it doesn't play switching cards. And I would say, outside of Lost Box, a lot of decks these days aren't playing many switching cards. So that Wild Freeze letting you paralyze your opponent's active, 52 itself, and does 70 damage as well. Worth noting, though, you cannot Melanie to Articuno, so the way we accelerate energies to that will be via Raihan or Mirage Gate.
Yeah, and we see here strong start from Orvind. You know, the Battle VIP Pass. This is something that he definitely wants to see, and we see the concealed cards here. Drawing into another VIP
Battle Pass.
Massive.
Everyone's welcome to this party. Let's go.
I think we're a stroke of luck. Me and you both casting. It seems like all these players are getting such great setups.
Yeah, could you imagine that? We saw Robin and Philip. They were teeing off as well, weren't they? So. Yeah. Look at yes, but you think, okay, fair enough.
Fine, whatever, that's okay.
Although worth noting, Orvind isn't to know that Jesper's playing the Cryoga package. You have to imagine all these bench Pokemon coming down does give more opportunities for that late game Cryoga, that Aqua Storm attack, 50 for each energy you discard to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So bench Pokemon, I should say. So.
It's such a good point to raise because when you come up against Lost
Box, VIP off the. I mean, I'm not even sure if you take that actually. The rare chance you turn down 3 battle pass in a turn, Jesper's like, okay, hand's that good, is it?
Yeah. I mean, going back to it, you know, when you come up against a Lost Box engine and your opponent starts Comfey and nothing else, you don't quite know what's going to be included in that deck list. You know, are they playing Kyogre? Are they playing the Turbo build? Are they playing Zard? You just don't quite know. So you have to keep versatile in this matchup.
100%. So let's see what Jesper's opening hand is. So we see a Forest Seal, That's a good start already. We do see the Raiko inactive, just starting off some of that fleet-footed ability. I think that was a VIP, weren't it? Was it last card?
It
VIP,
was.
Yeah. The Raiko coming in the clutch there, and that double nest ball as well.
Yeah.
Bench Pokemon flying all over the shop in these opening turns. Love to see it.
Such great setups from both players, and it's really nice to see because both players, can get into this game. They can play to, how they want to navigate through this matchup. So we'll see how Jesper does here.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here then. So Battle VIP pass, opening up, probably going to get themselves some Comphase down, maybe Greninja, anything like this. And get that turn started. No Cramorant. There will be no early Cramorant actually, yes, but does only play one of those. Yeah,
the benefit of this Lost Box build is utilizing the Forest Sealed Stone to try and get to the 10 cards in the Lost Zone to utilize Sableye as soon as possible. So they play the 2 Forest Sealed Stone with the Dragonite V and the Raikou V, so they can try and get through to their Lost Zone package as soon as possible.
100% there. So there we go. Got the Comphase down. We see another nest ball. What does this one target? Probably going to be Greninja if I had to guess. Could be another Comphase maybe.
I'd imagine Greninja for the added consistency. However, Orvin will have Greninja also available to him, so it might be a task of getting the Manaphy down early.
That's a fantastic point
to protect your Comphase. But he goes for the Radiant Greninja for that added consistency, as we spoke about earlier. And Jesper just writing down his prize cards, as we always have said, as good players do.
100%, so probably realizing, oopsie, the Cramorant is prized, so let's just make sure, keep note of that. I mean, Cramorant, outside of taking these early prizes on little Pokemon like a Comphase, not going to be terrible useful at hitting into a Goodra when it's swinging with Rolling Arms. That'll do a grand total of 30 damage, so not the greatest.
Well, one thing to say about Jesper's list is he doesn't play boss. I think one way to get around Goodra is to negate the effect of the Rolling Iron by going Rope Boss, So you can try and get around it, but Jesper's going to have to try and navigate around not playing that. So we'll see how he does here, and we'll see the Colress coming down as it should in his eyes. And
another Battle VIP was an option there, but again, not 100% sure if that's the. I mean, it does give you easy access to that Manaphy, like you mentioned. So let's have a look. So you see an Echoing Horn in there as well, could be interesting. But no, getting rid of the Battle VIP pass and a Colress. Wow, not something you see terribly often going first there, is a Battle VIP pass and a Colress hitting the Lost Zone. So those other cards must be really good in Jesper's hand.
Yeah, Echoing Horn so important in this matchup. If you can manage to knock out a V here, you can just bring another V back, the same V back, for another 2 prizes. And, with Colress engine, with the Comphase engine, and Radiant Greninjas being small HP Pokemon, these are easy 2 prizes that Jesper can maybe take. So we'll see how he utilizes the Echoing Horn maybe.
Yeah, 100%. So let's see. Looks like debating on a flower selecting there, Nest Ball. Let's have a gander. What else has he got? So use concealed cards, use the fleet footage, use the flower selecting. I think that we saw a switch card. Oh no, go up into the retreat, flower selecting again. So a lot of cards hitting the Lost Zone here.
A lot of cards.
Obviously, and we do see that we know there's a Forest Seal in the hand as well. So we do know that if there's a Lost Vacuum, we can get that up to the crazy number. So we can start using those Mirage Gates potentially, and then we can start using our your Greninja yourself. Maybe knock out Comphase. Put some damage on Articuno, damage on the Greninja even, or a double Goodra V-Star maybe, try and force the early Moisture Star.
Yeah, and Jesper's showing how much pressure that this deck can put on your opponent, because 4 cards in the Lost Zone on turn 1 is no easy feat, but also now with the Forest Seal Stone, he can try and utilize that to try and get those missing switch cards or missing Colresses to try and get to that magic number 10.
Yeah, 100% correct. So there we do see the turn starting off there with the concealed cards, I believe, was that?
Yeah.
Or
is that
that's the discard pile?
That's the discard pile.
Oh, it's got the Lost on the left. Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah.
I was about to say, I don't know how he got 15 in there.
I was going to say, wow, I've been efficient.
Yeah.
So let's do see the V-Guard come down. It's an interesting card, giving you that minus 110 reduction in total after a Rolling Iron. That is a one-off, I believe, as well. Yeah. So firing that nice and early is never a bad thing. And here we go. See the ultra ball, heavy ball. We have to imagine. Well, we think we can definitely see the turn 2 rolling on. Right? We see the escape rope to get the Greninja out.
The ultra ball here, yeah.
And that, you can't really ask Guja to do much else than a turn 2 rolling iron, right?
Yeah, no, and you know, it's dangerous here for Jesper because Raikau, of course, has 200 HP, which makes it a rolling iron.
Good point, actually. Yeah,
a nice little two prizer there for Orvin to take.
Wow, okay, so yeah, this is normally Guja's not known as a deck that can be super aggressive, but like you said, Orvin might even have the boss in hand. We can't quite see his hand. Might even have the boss so we can even go after that Raikou, which would then turn off Forest Steel out, at least immediately, force Jesper to maybe put down another one. Let's see what we got. So we see Escape Rope. What is that? Chorus. Okay, so there is no boss's orders, so the complete Dream Return isn't quite alive, but still Escape Rope into turn 2 rolling iron with a V-Guard. Fantastic place to be.
Yeah, you certainly wouldn't complain. And Jesper just deliberating what to bring up here with the escape rope. I don't think I would want to bring. I wouldn't want to bring anything up here. Going down to 1 Comfey on the board isn't a fantastic place to be, but you can't get rid of Raikau. It's such an easy 2 prizes for Orvin to take, but also the Radiant Greninja. It's just consistency that stays on the board. So, unfortunate for Jesper, has to sacrifice a Comfey here.
No, you are 100% correct. So let's have a look at Jesper's turn then. You know, the turbo deck does want to try and get to 7 as often as possible. Turn 1 didn't quite get there, but you have to imagine lost zoning the Colrus. Oh yeah, there you go, has another one. Open up the turns. We see a Mirage Gate there. We see, oh goodness, can't quite make some of those stuff out. Clara, probably don't need that right now. So it looks like Clara, and Manaphy.
Okay, interesting.
Interesting. So that means now that the Greninja from the other side of the board is going to be permanently a threat. I guess with 1 Comfey down, you know, we probably just avoid benching other Comfey, so Greninja can't take 2 prize cards. Heavy board. Now we've seen 1 Energy Recycler hit so we're going to have to keep that one for sure.
Yeah, the prize mapping here is super interesting, right? Because it's interesting to see how both players see this match go. With the Raikau on the field, as we said earlier, it's kind of easy for Orvin to imagine how he's going to see this match out. But for Jesper, does he pop down that other Comfey? You know, it's such a weak Pokemon to put down, and it's so vulnerable against that Radiant Greninja.
So it's like, do we see the Mirage Gate live now? Looks like. Where does this go? We could go to Greninja. You really see a Water Energy get moved to the front. Does have to maneuver this Comfey out the active. I imagine with the amount of switching cards. It is going to be Greninja. Okay. So where do you think this damage will be going then? Would it be Comfey plus? Where do you think?
I would imagine he's probably trying to soften up some Pokemon here. I mean, he has to, but it's interesting to see which Pokemon he'll choose here. Of course, putting down Pokemon down to the nearest 50 for Kyogre is going to be really important. If you can manage to put down Goodra down to 250 or the other Goodra on the bench down to 200, it makes that Kyogre play a little bit easier. So it'll be interesting to see. But Moisture Cell's so it's so live, you know, when that happens, you know, and good Goodra players will see that threat coming so early.
Yeah, you're right. That Moisture Star being able to just completely erase damage is insane. Here we see another Nest Ball. We do see the Greninja hit the active, so we are most likely going to see the Moonlight Shuriken. It looks like this was moving a Comfey to the front. I'll be intrigued to see if he does bench it. Like you said, with that Manaphy gone, that does open up the door for Orvin to have some easier prize cards. And we do actually. Wow.
So now for Orvin, it's simply Raikau, the 2 Comfey at some point with the Greninja, and the Greninja itself.
And the Greninja itself, So with that in mind, what sort of counter plays can we see from Jesper trying to alleviate that? I'm not 100% sure, because while Kyogre is sort of seen as that catch-up quick card, as it were, it can only hit the bench Pokemon, and Orvin only has 1/2 prize. And if that evolves into a V-Star, Aquastorm's going to struggle to actually OHKO that. So could get a bit interesting. Yeah,
I'm struggling to see the prize map here for Jesper. He hasn't managed to knock out a Goodra and won't happen to do that anytime soon. Now, here we see the Moonlight Shuriken taking out the Comfey, as we imagined. And
onto Greninja.
And opting onto the Greninja. So I guess with the Greninja, it makes it easier 2 prizes, and then Jesper can, with the knockout with the Comfey, it puts him down to 4, and then maybe knock out the two Goodra with the Kyogre. But I can imagine for Jesper now, the Kyogre is the optimal option here to take the game.
I think you're correct. And I guess, in theory, if Jesper can try and KO the Greninja, then it'll be less live to do the Moonlight Shuriken right on the comp phase. You can try and remove it before you get there, because if you do Moonlight Shuriken, that means you're not rolling iron, which then means the Gudra, I should say, won't have its damage reduction. But there you go, see the rolling iron again. That is a beefy Pokemon, almost as beefy as that Warlord you had earlier, to be honest. Feels about the same.
I wish it was a little bit more beefier, but, you know, we won't go there. That's fine. Yeah, I can imagine here now, you know, Jesper trying to try and get to 10, so he can simply just do some little Sableye plays here. And like we said earlier with the Cresselia, it's the little cheeky, oh, I'm going to sprinkle a little damage on this Gudra, and it's up to you whether you can Moisture Star. It's up to you. But I think Jesper will negate Orvin the option to do both, if that makes sense. So, you know, Moisture Star can only do one, right? So you know, as long as he negates the option by sprinkling a little bit on both, I think that's the most optimal play.
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, try and bait it out. Make that Moisture Star as least efficient as possible. Don't let it remove crazy stuff. Worth noting, though, Jesper does play the Dragonite V. So if there is any residual damage on these Gudras, that 250 baseline with Dragon Gale can really, you know, do some damage, as it were, to Gudra. A very good, solid attacking option. Here we do see the Forest Seal Stone activating there. And let's see what Jesper chooses to add to his hand. Looks like he moves a Colress to the front very fast. I imagine that makes the most sense. So you get to 10 in the Lost Zone, and then you can start using that Lost Mine attack. Then you spread 12 damage counters around.
Yeah, I mean, now with the Confe in the bin for Orvin being knocked out in the earlier turns, so I suppose Jesper does have 5 prizes available to take. He's got the Gudra on the bench, the Articuno, the Greninja, and then the Confe. So I can imagine the Echoing Horn being played now.
Okay,
to put him down to 4 prizes. However, you know, that is going to take a couple more turns, and with that Raikou on the bench, it's who can get there first, I suppose, to their options.
Good point. I didn't think of Echoing Horn. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Looks like Lost Mine is currently live. That has a stacked hand, and
that's very big.
Yeah, and the Roxanne's currently prized as well, so might not be able to get played at least immediately. Just like we see the Escape Rope, which is going to turn off the rolling iron.
Yeah.
So it looks like, I would imagine, yeah, the Greninja gets put into the active. Then I imagine Jesper could opt to go for another Flower Selecting here, actually, if has another switching card, or could just go into the Sableye and then start using some Lost Mine action. And note, opts to go for the Flower Selecting as well. You know, just try and thin that deck, which is another mini game you play in the Kyogre variants, that you need to get all the cards that aren't energy out the deck as soon as possible. And that's what Jesper is trying to do here.
It's not an easy deck to play.
No.
You need 8 energy to get the most optimal Kyogre play off. You do need 8 energy in the discard pile, so you can, you know, Mirage Gate onto it, and also get the Magic 5 if it were to get the most optimal play, the most optimal Aqua Storm, I should say. So we see, it's interesting to see if Jesper does play the Echoing Horn now. See the switch card here into the Sableye.
And yeah, it looks like opt-in, looks like maybe not to, but the thing about Echoing Horn is, like you said, it can get played around, right? So you got to try and use it for max value when possible.
Yeah, if he does play the Echoing Horn, he has to knock out the Confe now.
Yeah, for sure.
Opts to not do it, and
oh, okay. Oh, I like it. Okay, so the Greninjas are 110. Because does he play Halucha? No, he doesn't play Halucha, sorry. Okay. I like it, though. And here we go back over to Orvin then with the Colress experiment. For I have to imagine all he's going to try and do in this scenario is just try and get that rolling iron back online, right? Yeah,
for sure. And just going back to how big the hands was, I absolutely love watching these Lost Engine mirror matches, because their hands, well, I'm going to say it, it's accordion hands. You know, it's going from something small, a couple of Colresses, a couple of Flower Selectings. You just go from nothing to absolutely everything. And we see here the evolution into the Gudra V-Star onto the bench, just preparing that for a rolling iron and a switch here.
Wow, it would have been interesting to see the Moonlight Shuriken into both the comp phase there. That could have been a strong turn. Or I guess into Sableye plus comp phase, but we just see the rolling iron there, strong turn, getting that back online, back over to Jesper now at 4 prize cards remaining. Let's see how he's going to close this out. I mean, there is 4 prize cards in play. There's more than that, right? But how are we going to get there when the Gudra has so much monstrous HP?
Yeah, no, it's true. And the problem for Jesper is he does, depending on what's in his deck and how much energy he can put back in with Energy Recycler, he will have to prepare the damage on the Gudra, say a 20 damage, say a 50, to put it onto that nearest 50 damage, as we said, because Aquastorm works in 50s for each energy. So it'll be important to see how Jesper navigates this through. But Moisture Star is still alive, unfortunately, for Jesper.
Yeah, that Moisture Star is just, that's the problem. If you try and dance around the Gudra, you are going to have to put damage on it eventually. Some of the damage is going to get wiped off. If you don't play Path to Defeat to deny it, that's just the nature of the beast. It will be getting healed off. So let's see what Jesper's... it looks like it does have the Sableye going again with the Psych Energy, so we will see some Lost Mine action. Here we see an Escape Rope going into, I imagine, the other Gudra. Oh, I wonder if that's why Jesper maybe kept the Greninja alive, right? Because if you can Escape Rope, put both the V-Stars on deck, and then go for a hefty Cryoga, maybe try and KO them both at the same time, maybe. That's possible, right? 5, 10, 15. Oh, no, just 25. 250 damage, I should say.
Yeah, so he does have to theoretically prep both.
Prep them a bit,
because Moisture Star, as we said, it only works on one. So if you can negate Orvind the option of dancing around it, he will have to prepare, as we said, both by putting 20 damage on each, let's say.
100%. So let's see what Jesper does. Does have to conceal cards. Definitely think eyeing up the Cryoga. He is definitely thinning the deck of all the cards that aren't energy. We know we got one Recycler in hand as well, or at least in deck, I should say, or hand. The other Sableye comes down, so there are going to be sort of a ton of Sableye threats. And this is just feel like this is a bit of a chess match at this time. All everyone wants to do is keep rolling on over and over and over again. And Jesper is just going to try and set this up nicely so we can try and get a sneaky win. I
would imagine now that he's putting the Sableye down, he's prepping for next turn, and he's also prepping for the Roxanne. If he's going to be taking a knockout now, the Roxanne is live, and as we saw in the match before, Roxanne against Lost Box can be absolutely devastating, and we know that Jesper's used most of his Colress now, so the option to gain more cards and put them in the hand is going to be heavily disrupted.
Yeah, I think you are 100% correct. He's trying to work out optimal damage split. And I think you have to split it, right? You have to basically say you're not going to heal off all this damage. If you are, opting to heal, you're not going to heal off much damage. Is what you kind of have to do. Just try and limit the Moisture Star healing, as it were. Over to over now. Let's have a look. So we'll see a Nest Ball. We see a Raihan actually. Could be nice. Since the Roxanne is still in the prize cards, unfortunately. And if you Raihan, what do you think you grab?
I'm unsure. I'm unsure here. I would rather a Roxanne, but of course with no Comfey, no Greninja on the board, if he doesn't have it in hand, it's not an option, as we know. So he may be prepping for next turn and grabbing the Roxanne now. Oh no, sorry, the Roxanne's in the prizes.
Yeah, Roxanne's prize. Yeah.
So grabbing the boss. Grabbing the boss does guarantee next turn if you do survive. But without that hand disruption, with the size of Jesper's hand, Orvin may be seeing the writing on the wall and is knowing that the Kyogre, it's coming.
Yeah, I guess at this point when you've seen one Recycle, you've seen Forest still, there is that sort of hybrid turbo deck where you play a hybrid turbo with the Kyogre package. A good friend of mine, Alberto Conti, plays that quite a lot as well. Got a ton of CP with that. And it's interesting because you sort of get that early game potency, and then you can try mid to late game far off the Kyogre and just remove all threats from the board. Scary deck to play. We do see a Moisture Star for the 50. So the Moisture Star's gone now. So all damage that will be put in play will be staying in play. There is no other healing in these lists. And there we just see the rolling iron. Roxanne does get taken out the prize cards here as well. So,
Roxanne is taken.
We have to imagine the boss is coming down next turn. So it's over to Jesper. Can he close this out? I don't think it's possible with no benched other Pokemon, right? Like this Gudra and Yactive's going to stay there.
So with the rope, and hoping that the Orvin doesn't bring up, say, I should say, if Jesper plays an Echoing Horn now, and hoping that Orvin doesn't escape rope into, say, the Comfey that he brings up, then Jesper can take this game.
That is a good point, actually.
With the Kyogre.
All right, so let's see if we can. Well, that deck's looking thin, so there's a recycler. Oh, that's a escape. Oh, it's a recycler and escape rope, though. I think they were both important cards for this combo.
Yeah.
I'll just give it an escape rope.
The escape rope.
Maybe he's got more. Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah, escape rope is vitally important, but so is energy recycler even. So.
No, if he ropes now and then echoing horn.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
But wow, this is going to be a clutch turn here then. So we need to see the Kyogre. Here we see the concealed cards. It was the last card in deck, which is an energy. We do see the echoing horn. We do see another rope, actually. We do see. I'm guessing Kyogre must be in hand. We do see at least one recycler. I think there's 2 recyclers in hand, actually. Yeah. So, provided there's enough energy left. Oh, attached into the Sableye. Okay.
That deck's looking pretty thin as well.
I mean, the deck's empty right now. There is no deck, yeah.
I'm glad you commented that.
It's looking pretty thin if it's not there, right? There we go. So now we see the rope.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see an echoing horn.
So
that provides the retreat,
it's the
right?
Retreats,
yeah, that provides the retreat. Okay. Right, let's have a look. So here we see the Kyogre. Ooh, boy. So, wait, is it, I'm trying to work out, is it guaranteed at this point?
Yes, so the as long as it can be 5. As long as Aquastorm can hit 5 energy, then yes.
Then yeah, it's guaranteed,
but
right?
I'm interested to see why Jesper didn't play the Echoing Horn. Maybe it wasn't live. Maybe the options in his hand weren't live at that time. He needs maybe a couple of extra turns of discarding energy that were in his hand.
True, yeah, that's a good point. And I guess the Roxanne does put that boss away. Oven does play 3 bosses orders, so okay. So not quite going for the Kyogre yet. You know, maybe one wanted to thin those trainers that were in the hand, get them out of the deck before you try and go for the Kyogre. Or depending on how this Roxanne goes, maybe you can thin them out here. So let's see what happens. This is an exciting game. This is.
Oh, he's got the boss.
Oh, he got the boss. Oh
no.
My goodness. Oh, wow. Was that the first card as well?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
Just flashes the boss and into a game 2.
Oh, wow. I didn't even get to see. I would have loved to have seen how Yes would have navigated the rest of that turn had the boss not get ripped, but Roxanne apparently is a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, the Aquastorm, it's not always as easy as sometimes some players make it out to be. So, you know, yes, we're struggling to find that Aquastorm at the right time, hitting that right damage as well. But, you know, unfortunately, that Raikou start was the end of it. That was the sword.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, the Kyogre, it sounds really good on paper, right? 250 snaps to your opponent's Pokemon, but you have to essentially get your deck to be just basic energy for that to work, and that's not something you can just click your fingers and do. You do have to, you know, fuddle out these trains over the course of the game, and even the turn we thought was possible, maybe it wasn't for Jesper, and that's why I had to Roxanne, just hope, get one more turn to thin, and unfortunately, that turn wasn't available, so Oben goes 1-0 up.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps to it. There's a lot of steps, and it's a very meticulous deck. You know, all of the little options to you. You have to play them right. But let's have a look at Guja here, and you know, take us through this. You know.
Yeah, so Guja, I think, was a fantastic pick for EUIC, and I think it's still a fantastic pick now. Rolling Arm, reducing damage by 80. Moorstar heals the damage, and you've got Melanie and Mirage Gates to accelerate that energy. And it does say there are only a couple good matchups in theory, but no, there are a lot of good matchups for this deck. No deck wants to deal with a Guja hitting with Rolling Arm and V-Guard, right?
No,
so as we get started here, looks like, well, Jesper definitely isn't starting Raikou this game, because that's currently in the prize card, along with 1 Recycler and a Dragonite. And over at Oven's prizes, we see probably not too bad at all. 1 boss, 1 Colress, 3 energy, and a VIP battle pass. So not the worst prize cards there for Oven.
Yeah, I mean, on Jesper's side, unfortunately, with the Dragonite and Raikou prized, the option of using Forest Seal Stone has gone. So, you know, he can't be using that turbo engine that's been utilized so much by this deck and guaranteeing those cards, as we said earlier, like the Colress, like the last-minute switch cards. So it'll be interesting to see how Jesper pops off here. But, you know, starting with a Battle VIP pass, not a bad shout.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting point. You're essentially playing Turbo Lost Box without the Turbo, right? Which is a bit sad. Over Oven's side, though, you know, hasn't had the greatest start. Does have a nest ball. I can't quite see what's in his hand. But, you know, could be a good hand as they play in the nest ball. Going to try and do a little bit of a prize checking here, I imagine, and think, okay, the prizes aren't too bad. Does prize 1 metal, but does play 5 in total, so prize cards seem to be good. Let's see what Ovin looks to take here. I mean, you imagine it's probably going to be a Gudra, right, most likely, depending on what the hand supports. Yeah, there's a deck there. Just play the 1 copy of Choice Belt, which I like as well. You know, giving Gudra that extra offensive potency.
Yeah.
You go to 230, which is really strong. So
yeah, taking the knockouts on the little baby Vs, as we like to say. You know, those.
Yeah, the evolving Vs, right?
Yeah, Arceus V, or say even in this matchup, both the Dragon Knights. You don't need it for the Raikou, of course, but having that little damage option makes that rolling iron even that more effective.
Yeah, it sort of turns your Gudra deck from being a more of a defensive deck to a deck that can actually start threatening one-shots, which is a terrifying preposition, to be honest with you. And it looks like Oven took the Gudra, so I mean the Gudra took the Greninja, so after match the hand must be pretty good. That does have a Gudra in hand. And the turn 1 Melanie. Melanie is so important for it. It does draw into another V-Star as well, actually. Oh, a V-Star, I should say. And Melanie's so good. It lets you... Wait, didn't Jesper go first?
Yeah, I believe it's
yeah, so you can't evolve the V-Star, right? Have I missed something? This is Oven's first turn. He can't evolve... Wait. This is his first turn, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so he can't evolve that V-Star. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully we can get some communication down. I mean, it's a minor thing, right? It just gets picked back up anyway. But you definitely can't evolve that V-Star.
Yeah, hopefully we can get that checked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not definitely haven't missed anything. Jesper went first this game. You can support her, right? You can do it. You just can't evolve the. There it is. It's such a. It's a minor thing. It's so minor. Yeah. Like you just put it back up into hand.
It's almost like attaching another water to your Squirtle in a GLC match. But yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It's cool.
It's such a minor thing. You know, both play. You know what probably happens in these scenarios? You're thinking like 3-4 turns ahead, and you can just forget that. Oh, it's actually my first turn.
I mean, unfortunately, you know, Orvin was never going to be able to attack this turn, so, you know, it's just a quick pickup.
Just the confidence when you put it down. I was like, wait a minute, like, wait, it is your first turn, right? Like, okay.
It's when we start doubting ourselves.
Yeah, he's like, wait, no, like, it definitely is the first turn. Like, there's no Ascension attack that I've missed or whatnot. But over back to Jesper. Yeah, we see Mirage getting the skate rope go off the chorus. 2 very important cards, actually. So I'm intrigued to see what the other 3 must have been off that chorus. It must have been monstrous. That's an easy choice off that. But I was selecting. Wow, is that Jesper's hand? Oh my goodness. Wow. But now we know that Forest Hill Stone cannot be attached to anything, unfortunately. Unless I think Jesper might just be going to have to get those cards and lost zone the old-fashioned way, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that deck isn't changing the second time you go around it. Unfortunately, you know, he's probably seen the writing on the wall on this one, that the 2 Vs are prized. So opting for another Confade just to run through the deck a little bit more.
There we see the Beach Court, an amazing stadium for Lost Box, as if it needed any other buffs. It got another one, giving your basic Pokemon 1 less retreat cost, essentially meaning these Comphase, Cramorants, Greninja even, all have a free retreat cost, being you could dance around the active very well. Here we see Moonlight Shuriken drawing 2. We do see the Cramorant in play as well, so we could probably see a nice easy spit innocently. Yep. Take 1 prize card, and then actually probably if Jesper takes prizes bottom to top, which most players do on stream, we'd get access to a V Pokemon there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can vacuum away from a hand, I guess, and get to the stadium. And there we go. 1 prize there, spit innocently over to Ovin.
Yeah, a nice little play there from Jesper. You know, playing to his outs, taking the knockout on the Confay will mean that, you know, the Echoing Horn is live now to bring back that low HP Mon. You know, the Sableye will be a little bit more live now as well, with the fact that the two Confays will be on the field for Orvind. And here we see another Melanie. And I really like the Melanie in these Gudra decks. It's a really nice just in case card, you know, and energy acceleration, as we said before. So just can be so effective sometimes.
It just means you're so not reliant on the Mirage gates, right? Like currently you only have 4 in the last zone, so Mirage gate wouldn't have been live. But if you can do exactly what Oven did on your first turn, go in second, play a Melanie and attach, it basically means we have to attach 1 energy from hand to get rolling with the rolling line, as it were, if you pardon the pun there. Yeah, it transformed the deck, honestly. I feel as if it's a staple 3 count, and quite honestly, I wouldn't argue if you wanted to play 4. It's just such a good tempo card. Lets you draw cards as well in a deck that otherwise doesn't draw too much. You've only got Flower Selecting and Coral, which aren't the most explosive supporters. So anytime you can chip in these +3s is never a bad thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and here we see Ovid now, very relaxed. I think with Gudra, you know, you can just hide behind Rolling Iron, especially in a matchup like this, and just see your opponent run through the deck with the Kyogre. You know, the pressure's on them. The pressure's on them to perform and play the most optimally. You know, and Ovid here just chilling. Just sitting behind the Rolling Iron and not taking much damage to it, to the point where it's a threat, really.
No, 100%. The Kyogre is one of the, I think, is it a safe thing to say, maybe the hardest deck in format to play. I've got some friends that play, as I said about Conti earlier. Got Thomas as well, who we saw in the EUIC stream, piloting it masterfully. You Thomas, actually, he's for Wolf Boy, right? Yeah, but tell you what, watching them play, you think, every decision is so meticulous, which is why you won't catch me touching the deck at all.
I had the pleasure of playing Thomas actually last weekend, playing Block Snorlax. I felt like a bit of a fraud. I wasn't really doing much, and he was, you know, panicking, wiping the sweat off his brow, trying to play the Kyogre to the most optimal method. But, you know, hats off to these players. You know, they've obviously well tested. They got all their matchups in mind. And you know, Jesper on a 201 record here at Malmo. I'm sure he's going to end the day with a great record. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, he's a world champion. And here's actually a scary scenario, I feel, for Jesper, which might be unfolding here, is the case of just lone Gudra.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that if you're Jesper? There will be no Kyogre shenanigans at that point. There will be no escape rope shenanigans at that point. That's a tough scenario because you've got Moisture Star as well. This is the problem I find with Gudra. If you just try and like maneuver around and get clever and all this jazz, at some point you are going to have to damage it, right? Whether it's damage counters, Cramorant, whatever. And if you haven't got a Shred Attacker, it's going to be -80. And the later you leave it, I feel as if the more powerful the Moisture Star becomes, right? You've got less resources to try and throw at it. So at some point, Jesper's going to have to try and deal with it. I wonder if this will be the turn.
And Orvin won't have the difficult task of deciding who am I going to Moisture Star? Like, where am I going to use it? So, you know, you're putting the one Gudra down is certainly a massive threat for Jesper.
Yeah, we see the Clara, nice rainbow rare, love that. Getting back, is it 2 Pokemon and 2 energy? There we go. But yeah, what are you going to do here if you're Jesper? Trying to work out, the Greninja's got, what, 50 damage on it? Could Sableye. That's got 11 the loss on at a very fast rate. Has Jesper. Here we see the Escape Rope. Oh, okay. We all know Escape Rope turns off the Rolling Iron effect. And damage counter just get around Rolling Iron as well. So,
I mean, at least fortunately for Jesper, he will have the Echoing Horn to be able to play, so he can put one Pokemon back onto the field. But unfortunately, with the fact that Moisture Star is only live on the 1 Mon, you know, Orvin will have 2 turns of opportunity to take a little bit of chip damage.
If you're Orvin, do you just go lone Gudra here? Or do you bench the next one? Okay, well, the decision made. Decision made. Probably the safer scenario, right? Just in case. Okay, and Jesper has got down to 3 prize cards. As I say that, there's the great equalizer. If your opponent's taking 3 prize cards, the Roxanne can be devastating against these Lost Box decks. You know, by the time all these Colossus have been played, their most explosive supporters might have been Lost Zone and or discard pile, meaning you might only be able to see a couple cards off concealed cards and or Flower Selecting, which isn't the most get out of jail free card scenario, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to see this play here from Orvin putting down the second Gudra. I'd be interested to hear what his thoughts are around that. I suppose he sees maybe the Dragonite as a potential threat. With that massive attack that it has. So interesting to see how this will navigate.
Tell you what though, if Orvin manages to find the Choice Band, or Choice Belt I should say, you actually one-shot that Dragonite. So if it hits you, you Moisture Star, carry it back, like go on then, what else can you throw at me? And looks like, what did we see off the Roxanne? No, any playables, just going for the Rolling Iron. How has Roxanne treated Jesper? Roxanne treated Orvin very nice in game 1. How has she treated Jesper? Let's have a look. Opening the turn off, it looks like, with a Flower Selecting 1 and 2. We see, I think it was Escape Rope plus something. Oh, was it Escape Rope and Cramorant? Okay, that's got very little use right now, so that's to the lost zone.
Cramorant's not doing a lot, unfortunately, with Rolling Iron being active. And it's interesting to see that Orvin, not using the Moisture Star now, realizing that Aqua Storm, the likelihood of going down to 2 cards and get off an Aqua Storm is so low.
Wow, and I was just thinking in my head, Heavy Ball would be so nice, so you could try and go Escape Rope plus Dragonite KO. But Jesper opts to Lost Zone it, so that Dragonite won't be getting access to the Dragonite until he takes prize card. But Roxanne getting fired off back, and like we say, we saw in game 1 the Roxanne for Jesper wasn't the greatest, unfortunately, in the nicest possible way. How does Roxanne treat Jesper this time? Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll see now. And it's such a powerful card in the Lost Zone engine mirror, if you will. Once both players have used a lot of their Colruses, if they've used 3 or maybe even 4, there's not much draw engine for the deck, apart from, one or 2 maybe flower selectings. So Roxanne could be really, really powerful in these situations.
It really can, especially when you said we've seen 2 Melanies being used for Orvind as well, so that's 2 draw cards down. We do see Energy Recycling, Mirage Gate, Escape Rope, Lost Vacuum. Okay, so we've got cards to work with per se, but what is it he's going to try and do this turn?
Yeah, we see the recycling.
Was that a pass?
Yeah, it was a pass.
Oh, I guess he got no attacker, I should say, right?
So no options given there.
Orvind finds the energy. I feel as if that energy was so huge there.
Yeah.
Now we see a Moisture Star.
Yeah.
Makes sense. No playable cards there for Orvin, though, apart from the energy for next turn. But I guess going down to 2 prize cards.
Just taking the simple knockout. And I guess going back to it, thinking about putting down the V, if Jesper was to put down the Dragonite V, Orvin's on 3 prizes.
Yeah.
It would have been an easy couple of turns.
Yeah, I think you're correct, actually. And he needs a couple turns. Let's see what this flower selecting is. And he's also got the boss in hand, Orvind, as well, so he can try and clinically take apart Jesper's board next turn. And how does Jesper win this game? Here we see a Colress Experiment, never a bad card to have if you're a lost box deck. We see Raikou. We see 2 switch cards, Echoing Horn and Forest Seal. Probably not the greatest cards. You could argue Echoing Horn could be quite good.
This is the turn, though, for Jesper. Jesper needs to start taking prizes, I think, this turn. Otherwise, the Rhine will just be on the wall, unfortunately. I think he has to go for a Sableye play here. Maybe prep both of them for an Aqua Storm for next turn.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, because, I mean, Moisture has been used now, so all damage that Jesper puts in play will be sticking, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. However, with both Sableye unavailable to him, he's got 1 in the discard, 1 in the Lost Zone, and with the Cramorant also in the Lost Zone. I'm struggling to see where the damage is coming from. He can't put down any of the Vs either. Oh, such a difficult spot for Jesper. Yeah,
definitely can't put down the Vs. Especially Raikou could definitely be the worst one. We do see a Pokestop there. That could be used to add a little bit of to hand. You discard top 3 cards of your deck. Any items you get to keep, anything else gets discarded. So can be advantageous in item-heavy decks, or it could be disadvantageous if you discard Pokemon supporters or energy.
Yeah, it's such a difficult matchup when you don't play the Gust like the boss, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Without that getting around Rolling Iron, the matchup is even that more difficult.
Here we do see the Pokestop. 1, 2, 3. Oh, gets 2 items.
Not terrible.
Does get rid of a Colress, but you could argue if you're trying to get that mini game of just getting energies in your deck, then that's fine, right? You just get rid of 3 trainers. Here we see a Nest Ball. Is there a target for this? That deck's looking pretty small. It's 3 cards. Trying to think. So we've got 3 cards left. Now, bear in mind, Kroger cannot hit the active.
No.
It cannot hit the active, so it has to hit the bench. So if you were trying to Kroger at this moment in time, you can only take 2 prize cards. Maybe, do you try and Kyogre? Go down to 1 prize card left, and then, oh no, but he doesn't play boss, so you can't even Echoing Horn boss. You could go Echoing Horn Escape Rope, potentially. Is that the play?
He does have 2 energy in the deck, so he can get Aqua Storm. but it's how much energy he can get back into his deck is the question.
Well, we know there's definitely one energy recycler in handy. Probably, I guess one gets you, but then you discard your whole deck, actually, if you play just one energy recycler. So you need to try and find another one. I guess there's that Clara.
He'd have to hit all 5 and Clara on the bottom of the deck.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Wait a minute, hang on. Mirage Gates to the... He didn't Mirage Gate 2 energy to the Kyogre, though. So now he's going to take the Clara.
Okay, so guaranteeing that he has no cards in deck and it's all going to be energy.
So there's a manual attachment to the Kyogre. So now we are going to have to see some cards get put into the deck. So there's one recycler. There you're shuffling 5 energies.
5? There's 5.
I think it's 5, right?
You can recycle the other.
Yeah, 5 basic energies into deck. Yeah.
And then you can recycle the one other as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he does have it. Yeah. Switch.
And then switch card.
And then Echoing Horn. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Well played.
Let's go. So
what
we're
a
going to see 5. Wow, what a turn there for those two.
What a pop-off.
What a turn. And that's the thing about these Kyogre decks. They're so meticulous and it takes long to do, but the reward is insane. A 3 prize turn just like that. And you have to see the cogs turn. You have to think about it a lot. And there we go.
Talk about 0 to 100. You know, it's all about these little decisions. Oh, can he get there? Has he got the energy in the discard pile? You know, it's all about those little micro decisions, as we said earlier. And what a pop-off. But it goes back to the decision back on Orvin's side is benching that V.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I said at the time, do you consider going no basic V on the bench and just say, I'm only up 3 prizes, I'm going to take another one now. Let me just ride with this one Gudra V-Star. And I guess in hindsight, it looks safe to bench the other one. But then when your opponent plays Kyogre, which can do 250 damage to the bench, it can come back to bite you. And now we've got a game 3 scenario where anything can happen.
Yeah, no, and going back to the V, you know, being that it's 220 damage, it's within that range of Aqua Storm. And, you know, that V-Star will need to have that little prep damage, as we said before. So putting down the V is so vulnerable. Yeah,
100%, because the V hasn't got any damage reduction. You can't V-guard it. That doesn't help against Kyogre. You know, it hasn't got Roiling Eye in itself, so that's going to be a raw 220 damage. And we know that Kyogre hits up to 250. And when your deck is 100% energy, it does it very easily. So, wow. And there's the strength of the Kyogre. And that's why this deck actually terrifies me, because you 2 recyclers are
2 recycler in the prizes.
It does play 3, but 2 are currently in the prize cards here. And look at the prize cards for Oven. Does have the Drapion. That's 2 games that's been prized. You'd love to see that if you're Oven. You get that Drapion straight in there.
Well, we spoke about this earlier, having Piotr also prize 2 of his energy recycler, but sometimes they're very happy in that prize, in that prize pool. You sometimes see taking them at the right time.
That is a good point.
Is the point, you know, not having them in the deck means that you don't come into any awkward decisions around lost zoning with Colress or Comfey. So maybe if Jesper can take a few little prizes here or there with Sableye, we can see Jesper drawing optimally off his prizes and having the energy recycler just at that right time.
No, you know what? You're actually 100% correct, right? Like if you want a card solely for the late game, where you want it's in the prize card, right? Especially if there's turns where, you know, you have to lost zone 1 card you see out of 2, or you have to lost zone 2 from a Colress. But just by the nature of the beast, some of those cards will have to hit lost zone that you really don't want to put them there. So being in the prize cards is, you could argue, like you said, the safest place for them. Looking at Jesper's hand, we do see a Manaphy come down, so that's why I know the hand could be desperate, because I guess that turns off a Ninja actually, but oh my goodness, is it? There's nothing else to play.
No, there's not much going on. And
oh, no.
If Orvin can find Melanie, he can start putting that pressure on immediately.
But it's a Colress. It was a Colress. Yes, but that big sigh of relief.
Big sigh of relief there from Jesper. But we see the Gudra now fully set up, really, ready for that water energy to be attached next turn and rolling iron his way to victory. But Jesper looking in a pretty sorry state.
Oh, no.
Oh. And he's
Aqua Storm. There we go. Is it 20 off Aqua Storm?
Yeah. It's a little Little splash there.
Little cheeky.
Yeah,
Gets around V-guard. That's a turn 2 rolling iron. That is a turn 2 rolling iron. What is this card for Jesper? It needs to be a good one. He's rubbing his hands together. It's a Mirage Gate. Oh, no.
Super unfortunate for Jesper.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And you know what I was thinking? There's only 4 minutes left going into that game 3. Chances are, I wasn't going to say it, chances are it's going to end in a tie, but unless strange things like that happen, where you see no ball search, no VIPs, not even any Pokemon really, just little Manaphy and Cramorant against the world, and Orvin getting a sneaky W there, as it were.
Yeah, super unfortunate for Jesper, but Orvin able to capitalise on that, getting the rolling iron out super early. Although it's a 3 energy retreat cost, the deck is made and built to be kind of, let's get rolling iron quickly as possible. Let's get it out.
No, especially if you're going first, what you've got to do is attach one energy the next turn, and then that's it, and you get to rolling, as it were. Melanie makes that even easier, and unfortunately, that's the downside of the Lost Box deck. You can't tank hits with that Lost Box. You got 70 HP, 110 HP, 80 HP, and 130. I think the Greninja has, right? You haven't got a lot of HP to tank hits, and if your opponent just starts piling the pressure on, you can't find anything else to soak that damage up. You have to chalk the sign the match dip, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Both players played a really good game, though. You know, Jesper playing that 0 to 100 pop-off with Aqua Storm. It's something that, you know, it just comes out of nowhere and takes the game. But, you know, Jesper, a player like him, you know, with a 2-1-1 record, his day's certainly not over.
No, 100%. I said ex-world champion. If anyone can come back from it. 2-1's even a bad record, either. Yes. You know what I mean? Wait, 2-1 3-1 now, sorry? Is this round 4?
This will be round 4 now,
yeah. So 3, perfect round, plenty of time, and especially with a deck like that, Kroger. If you can navigate that deck, I would argue, to be fair, here's a bit of a hot take here for you guys. I'm sure chat will love this. If you are a Lost Box Kroger aficionado, I would say it's got to be up there as potentially best deck. If you know your way around the deck, and you know the sequencing, you know what to lost zone and when to do Cramorant, when to do Sableye, it is a terrifying. If my opponent flips over Krog, I'm thinking, oh goodness, I'm in trouble here. So yeah, if anyone can claw that back from a 3-1, it's going to be him, I think.
Yeah, and like you said before, you know only the people who really know how to play the deck will take it to a regionals as well. You know, he's got 9 rounds of the Kyogre Lost Box. It's no easy feat. But, you know, like we said before, a player like Jesper, I'm sure he'll come out on top. But for Orvind, you know, going into round 5 now, 3-0-1 record, you know, that's certainly not to be sniffed at as well.
No.
You know, and he's starting to build his story for the Malmo Regionals and hopefully can see it out to make day 2.
Speaking of the story of Malmo Regionals, we know our very own Amy picked Gudra as her deck to watch or deck to win, and so far, did it win when it was on round 1? I'm trying to remember, did it win?
I forget now.
Either it's been on stream twice, potentially won twice. Definitely won this time, and currently, like you said, in a 3-0-1 record, you know, day 2's definitely within the sights there. And I think Gudra for EUIC was definitely the deck to play, and I feel as if it's worn off the radar a little bit, but for no reason. It's still a fantastic deck, but I think we are going to get to a winner's interview real soon, so don't go anywhere, and we get to hear from the man himself.
Gudra V-Star started off being a rogue deck, but now it is on the scene as a top-tier contender in this format. Gudra V-Star's rolling iron attack does 200 damage, but then also reduces damage done to this Gudra next turn by 80. This makes Gudra V-Star extremely hard to KO, with an effective 350 HP. And the scary thing is, if you don't one-shot the Gudra, it can just use its V-Star Power Moisture Star to completely heal itself, possibly erasing 1, 2, or maybe even 3 turns of damage from your opponent. This means it's not terribly uncommon for one Gudra V-Star to win the game on its own. But if one does get KO'd, it's really not normally hard to get another one swinging, since you can utilise cards like Melanie and Mirage Gate to just power up a second one. Gudra players can even make use of cards like Cramorant and Greninja to offer alternate one-prize attackers too. So Gudra might not look too threatening on face value, but if you don't take it seriously, then it might just roll over you. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see it roll over people here at this event.
Hello everyone, we got to hear a little bit how Gudra gets played, and who better to talk about it than the person who's just masterfully played it on stream. I'm going to try and pronounce your name. We've just spoken about it. Uyvind.
Yeah, Uyvind.
Uyvind.
Yeah.
So Uyvind here from Finland played amazingly just there on stream. It was a close game. Both first two games were very close. That final game, how did you feel when you saw that start from Jesper and knew that it was likely you're going to win?
Me and Jesper go way back. We are kind of good friends, so I felt sorry for him.
Yeah, I got to listen to you guys chatting a little bit, and you were laughing back and forth, especially with the Gudra V-Star evolution. You just had a good chuckle about it.
I was so in the zone, and I didn't realize it was my first turn. I have 2 energy in play, and
yeah, it's easy to make mistakes, especially when you're playing a long day. You've got lots you're thinking about. You're thinking like 5 steps ahead, right? And that was the key in that matchup. You're worried about that Kyogre finish.
Yeah.
So the whole way through the game, are you thinking about how you can win, or just trying to keep that tempo up so you let them decide whether they win or not?
I tried to win all the games. In the second game, when there was the one decision to not bench the Gudra, the idea was to, if he goes with the Sableye, he can spread because I can't V-star 2 times. So the idea was to bench it and then evolve it next turn. And I was in my head that Lost Box doesn't play hand disruption. And literally in the first game he played Roxanne, so I should have known.
The Roxanne came into play, both of you played it back to back. How key was that Roxanne turn for you to try and win the game, do you think?
In the second game.
In the second game?
Yeah, in the second game, the Roxanne didn't do it work, and I should have used Colress to get to the gate.
Yes, and then you had the gate available for the future. But anyway, the game went back and forth, and unfortunately it didn't go in Jesper's way in the final game, which led you to get that victory. You're now in a really good spot to do well here. How are you looking for points when it comes to Worlds?
I'm missing 53, so...
Hopefully, hopefully here.
We came by car from... we first drive to Helsinki to Turku, which is 3 hours drive-ish, a little bit under. And then we took a boat and drive from Stockholm 6 hours here.
Oh wow, what a
and
travel.
I made a promise to the guys that if I get my invite from this tournament, I don't need gas money.
There we go. I mean, we spoke to Tord a little bit about this in one of the video pieces that were coming out, and this is your local event, but it's still so far away, especially for traveling by car. How is it for traveling around Europe for you with all the events?
It's kind of hard from Finland because you basically have to fly to everywhere because we live in the south and the border with Sweden is in the most north part of Finland, and then if you want to go with car you have to drive through Russia, which is you know. Yeah,
it's tougher. And I mean, the travel here will be worth it if you keep playing as you did today. Why was it you chose Gudra for this tournament?
We played the same list in the EIC, and I just didn't feel like changing anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know if you want to talk about the little spice that you've got in there. Have you found the Articuno to be useful?
Yeah, it won me the last 2 games that I won. So
what typically would you use it in for the Gudra match?
You poke something that can one-hit KO Gudra, the what is it called, Urshifu VMAX, the single strike one, then Duraludon, and I used it against Raichu Flaffy.
So it's good against, I mean, Lugia is one of the toughest matchups with the Duraludon and the Urshi, so that kind of swings it back in your favour.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, well, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job. As a player from Finland, I'm sure beating another Scandinavian player is good, but as you mentioned, you two have gone way back. I think I heard you guys say it's been 15 years?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Did you play against each other in younger age groups then?
No, I played against his older brothers.
His older brothers?
Yeah, I know Simon for the longest, and then Jesper and Steffen.
So how important is it to have these people you see all the time at events, keep you coming back so you can see your friends from all around the world?
It's, for me, I have had personally a tough year, so it's nice to see all the friends, I see all the Finnish guys, day-ish, but all the Norwegians, Tommy and then Jesper, it's nice to see, and of course some Britain guy
Well, I really hope that this event is your event, so you can make this year that much better, and then go along to that Worlds. That would be what an amazing experience that would be. Is there anyone you want to thank for helping you test? Any of the Finnish players or people you test with online?
Yeah, we had a testing group, like five people. They know who they are. I want to thank all of them.
I want you to say their names because I'm interested to hear the sound, see if I can say them.
There is Robin.
Robin.
Yeah, then there is Hermanni.
Hermanni.
Konsta.
Konsta.
Juho. And Tapio.
Tapio. They've all got easier names. You got the hardest name of the bunch.
Yeah.
We'll have to teach me off camera some of the names of other players because that's my biggest challenge here. And I'm gonna
sorry, I forgot Julius.
Julius. I tested you there by making you say everyone, and you can't forget anyone now.
Yeah.
But it's been a pleasure watching you play on stream, and as I mentioned, it was great to see people having so much fun playing, you and Jesper. Hopefully Jesper can get a bit more luck in future games.
Yeah, I hope for him too.
I'm just going to check. Have we got everything? We can let you go. I know you probably want to get off, get a break, ready for the next tournament. But it's been a pleasure chatting to you, and I believe we've got some more fun stuff somewhere else in the arena.